How you doing? I'm Dr. Paul Dyer. Welcome to just a conversation of talking about the living arts. Often we fall into certain situations or traps that we don't know how to get out of. Well, let's start with the living, right? I did a class recently on protection and learning how to do self-protection. With that, we have to understand that what are we living for? I always ask that question in all my classes. What are you living for and how are you living? What are you willing to protect? And if you're willing to protect it, how are you willing to practice it? Practice it takes more than just thinking about it or a hopeful idea. Times have changed and times will always change because that's what time does. But more importantly, who are you in that time? I always like to ask you three questions. Who are you? Where are you? And what are you willing to do? Where are you does not mean a particular place. It means where are you in your personal space, your personal mind, your personal spirituality, your personal physical health, your personal soulful health. Who are you? How have you identified yourself and where are you? These all takes different things and different times and different practices. And what are you willing to do? What are you willing to do for your mental health? What are you willing to do for your spiritual health? What are you willing to do for your physical health? What are you willing to do? So, who are you? Where are you? And what are you willing to do? These things give you the point, the starting point to now go forward in anything you do. When we think about protection, we think about life. Don't think about survival. Survival, you cannot protect surviving. You can only protect the living and the life force. Surviving means that you will always stay in survival. You can survive a moment, but you cannot live in survival. There's a difference. You can survive a moment, but you cannot live in survival. And I'll give you an idea. You can survive a plane crash, but you're not always crashing after the crash. You're not always reliving the crash after the crash. If that makes sense. So, like I said, you can survive a moment, you just can't survive the living. So you have to practice the living arts. The living arts takes on many different things. Reach out, build, develop a community that you can rely on. Reach out, build, and develop a community that you can rely on. If you have problems relying on a person or a thing or other things, that's something to understand of who you are and where you are. People say, well, I have trust issues. Trust issues has more and less to do with personal self than it has anything to do wherever happened to you. Trust issue has more to do with your personal self than anything wherever happened to you. If you cannot build a community, then you're in trouble. We must be part of a community, and the community must first start with yourself. I do a lot of shows throughout the week, and it has everything to do with promoting life, understanding life, getting information about life, and hopefully that puts you into a action because an action is important. Actions are important. Learn this about protection. Get get trained, practice, and do. Right? First, there's training, then there's practice of what you've been trained in, and then there's doing it of what you've been trained and practicing. These things are important. I hope I can help, and then that's why I do what I do. But ultimately, it is up to you. Understand who you are, where you are, and what you're willing to do. I'm Dr. Paul Dyer, and this is just a quick talk about living, loving, and understanding what you're living for. Just recently, someone said, understanding and do life. To do life, you must live life. And it's okay. It is okay to be in certain spots of your time where you feel like you are unable to do or you feel less than. That's okay. Reach out, reach up. Ask the question, ask for help. These things are important. You cannot do this alone, and you're not supposed to do this alone. We are communicative animals. We are meant to be in community and to commune, right? There's unity in community, and that's important. Be compassionate, be blessed, and practice. Thank you. I'm Dr. Paul Dyer.